I'll try to keep it under control, though. Paul, President Chamber, and welcome to our mayoral forum here in Hagerstown, City of Hagerstown. I'd like to just remind everybody about their social distancing. If you're walking, please wear your mask. The restrooms are back around to my right. There's soap and water in there. Please wash your hands. We have sanitizer at this table. Please social distance and wear masks as you're walking around. Earl Stone, our health officer, had reported a really an uptick in positivity rate here in Washington County. So let's do our part to stay healthy. We have a number of elected officials in attendance I'd like to acknowledge. First of all, we have our state delegate here, Brenda Chan. Good morning, delegate. We also have a number of council members here. We have Austin Heffernan, Emily Keller, and Shirley McIntyre. Good morning. And we'll hear from Emily Keller here shortly. We also have our city administrator from the city, Scott Eichmore. Good morning, Scott. And we will see more about Michael Bars and Emily Keller. Let's welcome them here this morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'd also like to thank the Maryland Theater for their work here with us and their team, Charlie and Sam for breakfast and River Bottom Roasters for coffee. Let's thank them for getting us here this morning. I'd also like to acknowledge our team at the Chamber, Donna and Tiffany and Brianna. Thank you, ladies, for all the work you're doing. We appreciate it. So if you're not supposed to be here, just tell Brianna she will take your picture. Just to mention a couple of events coming up. Next Wednesday, we'll have our Congressional 6th District Forum. So we'll be here again in the morning. We have our 8th Annual Economic Summit at Fountain Country Club. That's going to be on Thursday evening, November 5th, starting at 5 o'clock with Anibam Asu. So if you have not had the pleasure of seeing Anibam speak, I highly encourage you. We do have limited seating because of COVID, a limited attendance. So if you're interested, please sign up. And just know he'll talk about the worldwide economics. He'll talk about the United States. He'll talk about our region, our state, our county, and our city. He'll do updated numbers up until that evening. So please plan on attending if you're interested. On November 10th, we have our pre-legislative forum at Hagerstown Community College. That's Tuesday, November 10th, 7:30. We have our public safety awards. Normally we have those in June. This year, because of COVID, we moved it. That's going to be November 12th, 7 o'clock at Fairplay Fire Hall. And then we have really exciting news in addition to all those things. Our business and social hour, our bash, will be at the Mulberry Lofts, November 19th. We'll be featuring Charlie and Sam's, River Bottom Roasters, Design Method. They'll all be co-hosting. If you're looking for holiday money, the shot is $5,000. But you have to be there to win. You have to register by noon that day. And you have to be a member of good standing. Every member of good standing is registered. And in that drawing, you have to be there to win. So we did not give away $4,750, so $5,000 is the jackpot.
Do we all get a cupcake too?
Well, that'll be up to our friend Jess here to get cupcakes. I think we will have samplings, yes. And if you have not had Jessica's cupcakes and sweet treats, you're in for a treat that day as well. We would also like to acknowledge and thank Jameson Door. They sponsor these forums this whole month. We have Greg Lloyd, who's Vice President, and we also have Karen Weber, who's Resource Manager. We're here from Greg Lloyd right now. Please help me welcome Greg.
Just gonna hold. You didn't notice Donna was giving you the red flag. I thought she was going to put the spotlight on you, but that's okay. We at Jameson Door, we've been around since 1906, so for the past 114 years. We've been supporting Hagerstown in the local area. We're very happy to support these forums because we believe, obviously, everybody should vote and everybody should be an informed voter. So we're happy to sponsor the event, and hopefully we'll all learn a lot today about where both candidates stand on different issues that certainly affect everybody in the area. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Greg. And the Chamber does not endorse candidates. We encourage folks to be, as Greg mentioned, educated and aware of the issues. We do promote business and private sector, so we hope the candidates will address some of those issues, which we'll talk about here shortly. I'd also like to tell everybody we are recording this. It'll be posted on YouTube. Mike Schultz and Ryan Petrick. Thank you, gentlemen, for helping us do this. That'll be available after this morning. The Chamber's Government Affairs Committee works really hard to put together questions for these forums. We get input from our other members. Process this morning when the candidates come up here. Hayes will moderate. We'll introduce him in a second. They'll have, for almost everything, I think, but opening parts, 90 seconds per question. Don will be up front here. At 15 seconds left, you'll see the yellow card. When your time is up, you'll see the red card. And we ask you to finish your sentence, and we've had good cooperation here the last few weeks. We don't anticipate any issues here this morning. Finish up, and if for some reason you don't quite finish, you're going to get the red light here, and that's kind of a badge of honor there to get the red light. So at that point, we'll probably turn off the microphone. Again, we haven't had a lot of issues. We don't anticipate issues today, so thank you for cooperation. And again, you don't have to take the full 90 seconds. If you say what you say and you finish, we'll keep moving. With that said, I would like to introduce Gary Hayes. He's the president of Spirion. He is the chair of our Government Affairs Committee. He will moderate this morning. If you can't see Gary, he's got the Halloween theme on. Let's thank Gary as the candidates come forward. So, Mike Burnett, please come forward. Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our mayoral forum here at the Maryland Theater. Sorry. Anyway, we did a little bit of drawing at a time, and Mike Barnes, you picked, and you're going to go first to my questions. If you need a repeated question at any time, please ask me to. But before we get started, I want to give both of you 90 seconds just to tell us about a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself. So if you would, Mike, go ahead.
This one. Good morning.
It's on.
Now it's on. Okay. Good morning. First of all, I'm not a morning person. I'm usually up this early. I'm out in a tree stand somewhere. My name is Mike Barnes. I've lived in Hagerstown pretty much all my life, other than high school and college. I've been very active in the community, American Cancer Society, Food Bank, and the longest serving member of the Community Free Clinic. I've been on the board now for 17 years, either as board member, president, or vice president. I'm serving probably my third or fourth term as the vice president. I have some great ideas for the city, and I look forward to working with everyone on the council.
Good morning. My name is Emily Keller. I, too, was born and raised here in Hagerstown, graduated from South High in 2004. I am a small business owner. I run the Emily Keller Insurance Agency with Farmers Insurance. I'm a proud mom to my daughter, Layla, who is giving me the death stare for waking her up this early this morning. I am currently serving my first term as a Hagerstown City Council person. I love Hagerstown. I believe in Hagerstown, and I just want to serve. I am on several boards around the city, and I serve on the Legit Board, Local Government Insurance Trust Board for Maryland, which kind of makes both my worlds, politics and insurance, collide. I'm part of the Phoenix Foundation in Frederick, which just opened its first recovery high school. We all know I'm pretty passionate about the opioid epidemic, but it's not the only thing I'm passionate about. I want to see Hagerstown improve in every aspect. So I'm looking forward to answering these questions today, and appreciate you guys being here this morning.
Thank you very much. And this is just a quick word for everybody. We did post 3 pre-forum questions to both candidates, and they did respond to both of them, to all of them, and those will be posted on our website, available for everybody to view. So without further ado, let's get moving here. First question, describe and give an example of how you have worked to make our city a better place to live prior to serving or running for office.
Well, I guess the way I serve this is being able to help the nonprofits. Been very active, like I said, with the Community Free Clinic. Been on, back in the early 90s, the American Cancer Society, which is also another nonprofit that is close to my heart. I lost my grandfather to cancer. They didn't have a board, so I helped resurrect the board. I served on that board as the president. I've been very involved with the food bank, and I actually, back in the day, I guess back in Donna, oh, there you are. Donna, what year was it when Edo was?
Oh my goodness, that was a while ago, 2004?
Yeah, I was his co-chair of the membership committee for the Chamber of Commerce, and I also served on the ambassador committee for the chamber as well. I try to, I'm not one of those with a big checkbook that I can write the big checks, but I try to give myself back to my city any way I can. And usually by volunteering, see the card there.
Thank you. Ms. Keller?
Thank you. So prior to serving, I had opened my business about 3 years before running for office, and I used my business as a way to try to help the community. I'm lucky with Farmers Insurance having a national brand like that they offer all kinds of sponsorship opportunities. So I'd say one of the ways that I helped prior to serving would be supporting local teachers. Thank you, Million Teachers Program, Farmers Insurance, sponsored several teachers in Washington County. We also support organizations like Towards and I also was a team lead for Relay for Life, something that was very close to my heart for several years. We as an agency took and 1 year raised over $10,000 for that team. So I think I've been very active in the community prior to serving and even more so now.
Thank you very much. And the second question is going to go to Ms. Keller. Do you consider yourself to be a visionary or a pragmatic problem solver? Why? And give examples.
Tough questions early morning. Jeez. I'd say I'm a visionary problem solver. An example of that, I know everyone's going to chuckle when I say this, but I'm going to use it. Washington Goes Purple. It's not something that's solved right now. It's something that's going to take 5 or 10 years to solve. And we sit in these meetings and look at the opioid crisis and say, how do we fix it? And I think we all know there is no way to fix it right now. We have to do a ton of different things. So we took that and said, how do we solve this 5, 10, 15 years from now? So you put a lot of effort into a movement like that, knowing the results aren't going to be seen immediately, but hoping that they're seen in the future. I think taking organizations and programs like that is what I'm good at. And so I'd say definitely a visionary problem solver.
Okay. And Mr. Barnes, the same question. Do you consider yourself to be a visionary or a pragmatic problem solver? Why? And give examples.
Okay, I would say both. I know I'm going to keep on tooting the free clinics horn. When I started back on the board 17 years ago, we were in a little rundown building on Franklin Street, right close to the post office. And every time it rained, our whole basement would flood where all our supplies were. And I said, well, I'm only going to stay on that board until we get a new location. 17 years later, we're at a new location, and we got a much better location. Now we expanded our mental health to serve mental health. So to answer that question, I would say I'm not much of a talker, but I'm a problem fixer. So I'll find some way to fix the problem.
Okay. Question number 3, and this will go to you, Mr. Barnes. What makes you passionate about our city, and where are your favorite places to spend time in Hagerstown?
Well, I guess I'm very passionate about Hagerstown. I grew up in this area. My grandparents, and actually I'm living in my grandparents' home that I purchased my aunt and uncle. And I just love Hagerstown. My whole family is from this area. And probably some of the favorite places, the city park is my favorite place. I remember a lot of good memories from my youth walking around the city park. And I know back in the Hager House is a really special place for me. I remember my dad saying, and my dad passed away like 33 years ago, when he was in high school, their project was to revamp or remodel the Hager house, and my father was a part of that, and so that's why it's a real special place for me. That's one of the favorite places. I would say just walking around downtown I just like being in Hagerstown. It's big enough but small enough.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Keller, same question. Do I need to?
No, thank you. So what makes me passionate about Hagerstown? I would say the people. And ever since taking office, I've got to see it even more so. I get to see the little things every day, the business owners that are working really, really hard to stay afloat. And our city staff, I mean, these people work so hard to make this 45,000 person municipality run, and it's really inspiring to get to see every day. Some of my favorite places, to me, the South End. The South End is home. My parents still live in the house I was raised in right across from South High. I went to M.K. Dowd, E. Russell Hicks, South High. My home is in the South End on Summit Avenue. My business is in the South End. So it's definitely my favorite part of town. Just even driving through there, I feel at home. And I'd say another place is sitting outside at 28 South, getting to watch all the people walk downtown. You know, we're finally starting to pick up that foot traffic. And all of these renovated buildings and the empty storefronts are getting filled, and it's really cool to sit back and have an appetizer and watch the transformation of downtown.
Thank you. Ms. Keller, the next question is for you. How would those who know you best describe your strengths, and how would they describe the areas you need to strengthen?
So I'd say my strength is that I'm authentic and I'm brave. And I'm brave enough to stand up for the city. I'm brave enough to stand up for the person who maybe can't stand up for themselves or doesn't have a voice to stand up for themselves. I'm unapologetically myself. What you see is what you get. And I hope everyone knows that about me. I'd say my area I need to strengthen. I'm a little feisty. And that can be a good thing, but something I've really had to learn over the last 4 years especially is not everything warrants a response. I've had to give myself the 24-hour rule, because that feistiness, you know, I want to respond, and I want to defend the city, and sometimes I want to do it viciously, so I've had to give myself the 24-hour rule to say, all right, let's rein it in, and if your response is still the same tomorrow, then okay, but I've had to learn to take a breath, and it's something that I work on every day and will continue to work on as well.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, the same question.
I would say pretty much that I'm a self-made leader. You know, I didn't go to school to. I'm terrible at debates. Like I said, I'm not a big speaker. I'm a big advocate for the seniors. I'm in the insurance business as well as Emily. I've been working with seniors for the last 21 years of my life. That's one of my biggest passions, is to make sure that the seniors are taken care of. I'm very big with the helping the uninsured and underinsured in Washington County. As far as my weaknesses, I tell you what, this running for office is it's really made you have restraint, which I never had before. I was quick to respond on negatives, and I think I just got to learn to get a little thicker skin, and I'm working on that, and I've worked on that for the last 9 months now.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, how many City of Hagerstown business owners have you personally talked to over the past 60 days? Please tell us about some of those conversations and how they are influencing your run for office.
Well, with the whole COVID thing, I have not been out to a lot of the business owners. Other than, like, I've been to Salsa Mamas, I've spoke to those women. I've spoke to some small business owners down on found by Tri-State Printing, who has a construction company in town. I would say I've reached out to maybe 6 or 8 business owners here in the city, and my main focus is, if I become mayor, is to make sure that we don't lose any more business. It's sad that we've seen so many businesses go under because of COVID, and I think there was a statistic that we may lose like 33% of our businesses, and that's going to be one of my main focuses, what we can do as a city, as a community, to keep our businesses going.
Thank you. Ms. Keller, second question.
Can you repeat the second part of the question?
I can. Please tell us about some of those conversations and how are they influencing your run for office?
Thank you. So I'm in a unique position when it comes to speaking to business owners. Since I am in office, we hear from them all the time. I also always locally in restaurants and establishments. I'd say in the past 60 days, no less than 20 business owners I've been talking to, especially with COVID. A lot of people are reaching out with questions and asking for resources. Some of the conversations I've had, it's interesting, we're in this time of COVID-19 where a lot of businesses are failing, but I think in Hagerstown we have a lot of hope. We have a lot of growth happening, and businesses are really thriving and making their way through this. As far as my impact to run, I'm inspired by the courage that our business owners have had throughout this time. Also, with new businesses, we hear complaints. It's no secret that sometimes people say Hagerstown is hard to do business with. And that was one of the reasons why I ran in 2016. It's one of the things I think we need to continue working on. I believe it's gotten better, but whenever we hear that complaint of, we had an issue with this, or we feel like we had to jump through a hoop, we need to fix that. So that is something, unfortunately, we do hear often, and something we need to work on and will continue to work on.
Thank you very much. And the next question is also for you, Ms. Keller. And this one is multi-part, so I'll read it several times. At one time, the job of mayor was full-time. Should the job of mayor return to full-time? Why or why not? And if yes, what steps will you take to move in that direction?
Yeah. Tough ones this morning. Scott, close your ears.
Bad idea.
Yes, the mayor was full-time at one time. We have a city administrator form of government. I think it would be, it's not a good idea to have both a city administrator and a full-time mayor. Not that a full-time mayor isn't a good idea. Frederick City has one, but they also have a lot of staff underneath them. I've met with the Frederick City mayor before. They make a significant amount of money and they have admin staff under them. I don't think Hagerstown, even budget-wise, if we thought, yes, this is a great idea, let's go to a full-time mayor, we're not there with the budget. We would see a huge increase in salaries and benefits. And given the budget restraints we already have, I don't think it's feasible. I think our city administrator is very capable, and we are lucky to have a good relationship between the mayor and the council and the city administrator that sees the vision of the mayor and council. So I think what we have works. I think if we ever wanted to change it, like I said, I don't see it happening, especially in this term with the budget restraints that we have now. It's not feasible.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Barnes, I'll read it again for you. Same question. And that is, at one time, the job of mayor was full-time. Should the job of mayor return to full-time? Why or why not? If yes, what would you do to make it happen?
I really hate going second on this one, but I have to agree with Emily on this. I think Scott, I've met with Scott before. I've known Scott for a lot of years. I think our city administrator is doing a fantastic job. I don't think there should be, too many chiefs or not, and not enough Indians is the way to go. So I think under the leadership of Scott Nicewander and the city council, I don't think it is required to have a full-time mayor. And as we know, we have a great council right now. I just think it's more important to have a working relationship as a mayor with the city council.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Barnes, which of your leadership skills makes you our best choice for mayor in 2020?
I'm a get her done type of guy. I'm a problem solver. I like to listen before I snap off and make a comment. It's interesting you said that because somebody asked me the other day, somebody's going to say something negative to you on Facebook as a mayor. How are you going to respond to that? And I said, very simple. Tell them to come to a mayor and council meeting. We'll give you 2 minutes to speak in front of the council. I just think good leadership starts with problem solving, and be able to think things through and be able to communicate well.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller.
So I think some of my strengths are relationship building, which is important, especially in the role of mayor. I have strong communication skills, positive. I'm a goal setter, and I work to get those goals done. I'm very hands-on. I need to have things laid out. I think that's how you make progress. You set goals and you work to get them done. I'll give an example of my campaign that I'm currently running. It was important to me. I wanted to run the best campaign that this county has ever seen. So I don't have a campaign manager. Every graphic you've seen on Facebook, I've written. Every video that you've seen, I've written. Every answer, I've written. My website, I design, update daily. It's mine. My social media is run by me. It was important to me, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I've set very strategic goals over the last 9 months. I've held myself to them, which is hard to hold yourself accountable sometimes. But that's how I like to do things. And I think all of those reasons are why I'm the best mayor.
Thank you very much. We're moving on to the next section of our questioning, and this section is the role of the mayor in moving Hagerstown forward. I would like to say that if one of the candidates responds with, "I was sorry, I was distracted by Gary's outfit," that's an acceptable answer. We are going to move this, and we're going to start with Ms. Keller on this. What will you do to move the city of Hagerstown forward that may be different than past administrations? And what perspective can you bring that may be different?
So I really want to involve the community. I used the mayor of Frederick City earlier. I'm going to use him again. I don't know if any of you guys follow his social media, but he has done an incredible job. He updates the city of Frederick residents almost daily. Throughout COVID, he had video updates. He has messages from the mayor. He works with their staff and brings staff in to report back to the citizens and ask for feedback. They are constantly doing community surveys. And what do you think about this idea? How will this idea impact your business? And I think that's something that we haven't done good enough. And that's the type of mayor I want to be. I want to involve the community to help move Hagerstown forward. If we're going to have a positive place to live, I look at some of these social media, what's going on in Hagerstown, and people are very, very negative, and we have to change that. And the way we do it is to get community buy-in. So that's exactly what I plan to do to help move Hagerstown forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barnes.
Same question, good. Out speaking with the voters over the last 9 months as much as I could, one of the things is they feel that they're not being heard. The City Hall's not hearing them. So what I do plan on doing is at least once a quarter, if it's deemed necessary more often, is to have little community town halls where they can I can actually go to them into their community and hear their problems and then bring it back to city council meetings. I've been doing some advertising on WJJ. I would like to actually do a maybe 15 to 30 minute program once a week, once a month, whatever it's necessary, to have callers call in and tell me what their concerns are. There's a lot of people that doesn't want to go out and be seen in or make their presence known at a town hall meeting, but they can call in and be unanimous on the, on the radio. What was the rest of it?
Well, what perspective can you bring that may be different?
Okay. Well, I have to say we need to change the whole perspective of Hagerstown. I mean, we get a lot of negative feedback, and I will work to change that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, we're going to start with you on this question. If elected, what are your specific priorities for your first 90 days in office?
My first priority is start working on the crime and the I want to make Hagerstown downtown feel safe, and we're getting a lot of people that has come to me said if it's after dark, they don't come to Hagerstown, they don't walk downtown. I want to work with the police chief to see what we can do to get more police officers on the street, work on trying to clean up the crime problem within the first 100 days. One of the most important things would be a work on this. Hopefully, the current administration won't leave us with a $1.8 million deficit, and work on getting us back to a balanced budget. So that's two of the main goals that I want for the first 100 days that I'm in office.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller.
All right, so I have a plan for the first 90 days. First, if elected, I want to meet with our city administrator and our city department heads to find out what projects they're in the middle of, what their goals are. Luckily, being on council, I have a pretty good understanding of that already, but I still, since I'll be in a different role, want to sit down with them and find out what's important to our staff and what they're working on. Then I want to take this show on the road. I want to take the council and the mayor, and I want to go in every part of the city for several weeks in a row to meet the community where they're at, to make sure that they don't feel like they have to come to City Hall to feel heard. We're going to go to them and we're going to listen to what their concerns are, what they think we're doing right, what they think we're doing wrong, and what their ideas are to fix them, because I think it's important to get that community input. And then I want to reconvene at City Hall with the mayor and immediately set goals. We are going to work for the 4 years of our administration to reach. I think this council has been incredible. We've accomplished a lot, but something that we did not do for the first year and a half was goal plan, and I think that's a miss. So we need to do that right at the beginning. Take the community feedback, take the feedback from our department staff, take what's important to us, and really make a plan for the next 4 years.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Ms. Keller. How do you see your role in working with city council members?
Well, thankfully I have a pretty good idea. So it's important for the mayor and council to have a good relationship. The mayor is the voice of the city and the leader of the city, but they really, the job of the mayor is to fulfill the will of the council. So it's important to have a relationship with them. If the mayor feels very strongly about something, he's got to have 3 council members on her side, or she's got to have 3 council members on her side. So it's important to have that good relationship, to be able to communicate, to agree to disagree at times, but to really make sure that you can get those 3 council members and all be on the same page. It's important. No one wants to see conflict within government, and especially not on the local level when our relationships and the relationships that we build are so important. So I plan on having open communication and a great relationship with the council, just like we all do now.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, how do you see your role as mayor in working with city council members?
Well, I think it is part of any organization. You have to work well with the other members. And I know as the mayor, you don't have a vote. So it's very important to have a good relationship with the city council members to be able to persuade your way of thinking, or be able to work with them to, I don't want to say that in a negative way, persuade them to think the same way, but to work with them to come to a common goal or good for the city. So I think being able to just have good personal relationships with the council members is going to be very important. I know I caught some flack during this whole campaign. You know, I know it's a nonpartisan race, but I've attended I attended at least one function that I caught a little rift about because they weren't from the same party as me. Well, I want to hear what they have to say, so I have to go and listen. So being able to work and be able to communicate with both sides of the aisle is going to be very important.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Barnes, your turn once again. How do you see your role as mayor in working with our Board of County Commissioners?
I think that's going to be fairly easy. I have a good relationship with some of the county commissioners at this point. I think open dialogue with him is going to be very beneficial. I know I've been to at least one county commissioner meeting pre-COVID. I think it's going to be very important to have a good relationship with the county commissioners, and like I said, I'm already friends with at least 3 of them, so I don't foresee that's going to be a major issue.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller.
So the role of the mayor with the Board of County Commissioners is an interesting question that I don't think there's just one answer to. One, of course, it's important that the city have a good relationship with the county. We are the heartbeat of the county. We are a city tax base. We have a lot of things. What's good for Hagerstown is good for the county. With that said, we also have some issues with the county that I think we need to stand strong on. We have been trying for about 3 years now to get an explanation of the tax differential. My role as mayor, our role as the council, is to protect the city's tax dollar and to go to bat for the citizens of Hagerstown. And sometimes that's going to require tough conversations with the Board of County Commissioners, like why in our tax set-off we get 0 cents for our paid fire system to the tune of $9.5 million that we provide that's constantly in the county. Those are tough conversations that we have to have. They're not popular, and it can cause some stress between the city and the county, but I think it's important to have a leader that's not scared to ask those questions and to do it in a friendly way. But the role of the mayor is to protect the city taxpayer, protect the city resident, and we have to do that by any means necessary.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller, the mayor is our city's ambassador. How will you promote the city of Hagerstown to our other municipalities, the county, and at the state level?
So I kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm really big on communication. I think a lot of times we see a headline on Herald Mail, mayor and council voted on XYZ, and there's really no explanation as to why, which can leave people's imagination going wild. And I think if we did a better job of explaining exactly what we're doing and why, that we would get more community buy-in. So I really want to promote the positives of Hagerstown consistently on social media, on cable channel, in public. I want to promote those positives. I want to explain the whys and explain the backstory on why we're doing the things we are doing and why it may be the right decision. And I want to promote Hagerstown as exactly how I see it, a beautiful place to live, work, and play. I think so many times we focus on the negative. We hear, oh, I don't want to come downtown late at night. Okay, well, come with me. Come with me to dinner and see what downtown is really like. Because if you haven't been down here in 10 years, it's probably why you feel that way. But we need to change that narrative. And I think by selling what we're good at instead of constantly pointing out the things that we're bad at, while we're working to correct those things that we're bad at, is exactly what we need to do and what I plan to do.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, same question.
Could you repeat?
Certainly. The mayor is our city's ambassador. How will you promote the city of Hagerstown to our other municipalities, the county, and at the state level?
I think we're a beautiful little city. we're in the rough. We just need to get out the rags and polish it up a little bit. Even though we do have a lot of problems with drugs and crime and a lot of people not feeling safe, I think we are, like I said, within the first 100 days, we're going to work on trying to clean that up. I have some great ideas. I know we would like to get the Blues Fest back. I don't know what the status on that is. I have some ideas for another event that I'd like to see in the Christmas time of year. I think in order to bring these type of one of my ideas is a traditional German Christmas festival, which I would like to showcase that in the city park. Since Hagerstown is rich in German heritage. So finding ways to bring tourism dollars back into Hagerstown is one of my biggest goals for the city of Hagerstown.
Thank you. Mr. Barnes, the mayor is also the face of the city. How will your present initiatives to the citizens to garner their feedback and support?
Read that again.
That's a good question because it didn't sound right. The mayor is also the face of the city. How will you present initiatives to the citizens to garner their feedback and support?
That's a good question for such early in the morning. I just think that's a good question. I think we just have to, with my ideas, first of all, doing the little town halls, going out and meeting with the folks, letting them know that they are being listened to. I am going to be their voice in the council meeting. It's going to be. This is a good question. I'm really stuck with this one. I'd say just being the voice for the citizens that put me into office is the most important thing. I think I usually try to stay positive most of the time anyhow, so I always try to find the good in everything, so I would say just being a positive person as I am. I really messed this one up. Sorry. This was a good one. Whoever did this question, they got me.
Thank you. Ms. Keller, same question. Do you want me to read it again properly?
Yes.
The mayor is also the face of the city. How will you present initiatives to the citizens to garner their feedback and support?
All right, so I kind of feel like a broken record on that. I think I spoke to it earlier, but you are the face of the city as the mayor. So to be that positive voice, to be the person that's updating the community, to be the person that is posting on social media and using the things on your fingertips to relay a message is important. To present initiatives, I want to go out in the community. You said that in the first 90 days, but that doesn't stop. We've done that several times as an administration. We had a West End meeting, we had a downtown safety forum. I want to continue those same things that, again, get community buy-in, to hear from the citizens and then present our ideas. That way, you continue to be that positive face of the city. And then I just want to go back. We're all going to have to make a pact in this room to not tell Monica Wortman or Dieter, because they've worked a Kindle market for 3 years now, and you're going to be in big trouble. So we're all going to have to not share that there.
Thank you. Ms. Keller, the next question is for you to start. Our city is becoming more culturally and ethnically diverse. Close to 17% of our residents are African American and 8% are Hispanic. What can you, as mayor, do to help engage citizens of our minority communities?
I think that goes back to meeting people where they're at. So we kind of expect people to come to City Hall to talk to us, and that's not a good way of doing it, because some people don't even know where City Hall is. And you want to make yourself accessible. So we need to go into the communities, every part of the community and every end of the city, to make sure that we are engaging all populations of the city of Hagerstown. We are diverse, and that's what makes us beautiful, and we need to encourage participation from everywhere. The county does have a diversity committee. I joined it to be the liaison between the city. They are really focused on racial diversity, which is important. I think we need to look at all forms of diversity, not just racial, but all forms. So I think the city needs to explore having our own type of cultural inclusion committee. I know internal in City Hall, we've already started something like that. It's something our administrator's been working on, but I think involving our citizens is important as well.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, our city is becoming more culturally and ethnically diverse. Close to 17% of our residents are African American and 8% are Hispanic. What can you, as mayor, do to help engage citizens of our minority communities?
Well, I'm going to echo myself too. I think we're going to go out. I know my plan is to go out into those communities. I know I've already been down to the Robert Johnson Center, and I already there once down there. I try to get out to the Hispanic festival that they were having out at the Fairground Park. I know that's been a while since the last one has taken place, but it's very important that the City Hall, I go to them, not necessarily they come to us. And I think that's what a lot of the voters have been trying to relay to me. They said, we see you guys out walking around when you want to run for office, but then after that, we don't see you until the next election term. I don't plan on doing that. I plan on being very involved, and not just the Latino and the Hispanic community, but all communities in Hagerstown.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, this is a good question. If the city received a $1 million grant, which you, as mayor, could use for the city in any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
I would think I would use the majority of it for public safety. I want the citizens to feel a sense of safety in Hagerstown. I was just up in the West End yesterday afternoon speaking to concerned citizens about the drug problem up in the West End, the gunshots up in the West End. So if I could buy or add to a salary for another police officer or two, I would do that. Also, I'd probably use some of it to actually pick up some of the trash in Hagerstown. That's another complaint that I get. Up in the West End, I was sitting on Salem and Lanor yesterday afternoon, and they said, our whole people just come down and throw out trash. I live on Virginia Avenue. Scott's been by my place. You know how I'm real picky about my yard. Trash is part of that to get people out picking up trash. If we have to hire our own trash pickup people instead of using waste management, I would use either public safety and working on cleaning up Hagerstown. As far as trash.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller, same question.
So $1 million grant I can use any way I want. I think my answer 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago would have been different. I think that funding public safety is, of course, what people would want to hear, but the unfortunate part of the grant is it's not sustainable and we have to find that revenue stream. I think right now, I would use $1 million grant to make sure our businesses and our citizens can survive. So they can stay in their business, they can stay in their homes. We have a lot of people that are behind on electric and water bills, and there are some resources for them, but not a ton. We have people who are behind in their rent who just simply can't pay it, and pretty soon are going to be facing eviction. Same with businesses. We've done a lot of grants. The Rise Up grant, which was $10,000, which has helped a lot, but there's still a need. So I think right now, if I had $1 million, I would make sure it goes directly into making people stay in their homes and stay in their business, because we can't lose any more jobs, and we also can't add to the homeless issue that we have.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller? Downtown, the city of Hagerstown has a vibrant and growing higher education presence that has proven to be a strong economic development asset. Yet our primary school children must be bused outside city limits to attend public school. Should there be a public education presence within our city? If so, how long would you work with the Board of Education to accomplish this?
Okay, let me make sure I have the question right. So our primary students are being bused out of city limits. Do I think we should have a public education? We do have public education in the city of Hagerstown. And my daughter goes to Western Heights, which is in city limits, and that's a public school.
Let me read it one more time.
Okay.
In our downtown, the city of Hagerstown has a vibrant and growing higher education presence that has proven to be a strong economic development asset. Yet our primary school children must be bused outside city limits to attend public school. Should there be a public education presence within our city? If so, how do you work with the Board of Education to accomplish?
Yeah, I think the word some city residents are going outside the city, not all, and that present. So, what's your thought on making sure we continue public education and having those resources in the city?
Well, I think it's very important. I think it's a little bit of a confusing question, because we definitely have public schools south, north, several middle schools, several elementary. I'm not really quite sure. I think it's important to have public education in Hagerstown, but I'm not sure.
We're going to skip this question just because we are all quiet, and so.
Can I say something on that, though? Although we do have city, school within city limits, one thing that is a major concern is I reached out to the school board. One of the main complaints I'm hearing is the Jonathan Street area, and their kids have to walk to school, and they feel that they need a bus in that area. So I have reached out to the school board about that, but apparently their policies has a distance requirement in order for them to get a bus.
Thank you. Okay, we are now going to move on to the next section, and that is going to be economic development and the challenges facing our city. And Mr. Barnes, we're going to start with you. In your opinion, what are the three most critical priorities and initiatives for revitalizing the city of Hagerstown, making it attractive to those who bring investment and economic development?
Main thing is a sense of safety in the downtown area. I met with a business owner who had an investor come in from Chicago and was getting ready to make a large investment into his business here in Hagerstown. And within 2 hours, he called the gentleman up and said, "Hey, where are you guys at? We're going to go to dinner." And he said, "We're on the way to Baltimore, back to the airport, to fly back to Chicago." I think first, cleaning up, working on the crime, having reliable high-speed internet, because part of my platform is I'll be able to bring high-tech jobs, nothing wrong with warehouse jobs, but I would like to see high-tech, good high-paying jobs come to Hagerstown. And then with that, you're going to see our property values go up. If you bring a better income to this area, higher paid jobs to this area, you're going to finally see our property values go back up.
Thank you very much. Ms. Keller.
So the three things most critical for revitalization, I'm going to say removing blight and improving our neighborhoods. We recently, our piloting a tax sale program where we get houses that either need to be demolished or can maybe be renovated and get them back on the tax rolls. I think exploring options that are out of the box like that are important. We all know one house on every street that needs to come down or is just a blight on the community. And focusing on that is going to help revitalize our neighborhoods, which is how we bring in homeowners. I think community safety is important. If we are talking to high dollar investors and they come here and feel safe or reading articles about how it's not safe or perceived not safe, they're not going to want to invest here. So of course, making sure our community is safe has to be a priority. And I think the third most critical for revitalization is a positive image. Honestly, we need to market ourselves. And that seems like such a simple concept. But if you Google Hagerstown and you see a bunch of negative articles, why would you want to invest here? So to shed our community in a positive light, to show all the things that we're working to improve our neighborhoods, improve our streets, improve our safety is important for revitalization.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Keller, this is going to sound like you already answered this question. The city has been taking a role in the purchase of properties to improve downtown by securing grants and other activities. Should the city continue this strategy or only provide necessary services and leave development to the private sector without any incentives? Why or why not?
So it's lots of questions in one. Should the city purchase property? If absolutely necessary, sure. We have a competitive sale process that has been pretty successful over the last couple of years because our economic development department has just been on fire. And they have been getting these properties out of the hands of the city and into private investors, which is extremely, extremely important. I think providing incentives, we have to continue doing that. And I think if you look at what our administration has done with the incentives, it has been successful. We have the first hose, not the first hose company, but the Pioneer Hook and Ladder around the corner, the Masonic Temple, the Pro Arts Building, Grand. There's a million examples of buildings that were vacant or close to vacant that are now filled with businesses. And that's because of our incentive program. So I think it's very important to keep those going. Obviously, the city doesn't want to be in the business of real estate, but if we can take over a property and then give it to an investor or a nonprofit or something that can use it, it's better than it sitting vacant for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Barnes, same question. Would you like me to read it again?
Yes, please.
The city has been taking a role in the purchase of properties to improve downtown by securing grants and other activities. Should the city continue this strategy or only provide necessary services and leave development to the private sector without any incentives? Why or why not?
Absolutely, I think we should continue to do the purchasing of these type of businesses, buildings, whatever, and absolutely bring in a partnership, maybe a partnership between private and city investors to revitalize this downtown area. Like I said, this the building we're sitting in, the Masonic Lodge, which I attended in that many times in that building, the German restaurant, the I'm going to say what Emily said, the old truck house. It's important to have a relationship with the city and private investors. So yeah, I think that should continue.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, it seems like Hagerstown takes one step forward and two steps back economically. How do you propose growing the needed tax base necessary to ensure that our infrastructure and community assets continue to improve and grow?
Good question. I think everyone's taken two steps back during this whole COVID thing, but I think
Sure, certainly. How do you propose growing the needed tax base necessary to ensure that our infrastructure and community assets continue to improve and grow?
I think what we got to look at is I think what we need to do is, I don't think annexation is the answer. I know, I've heard a lot about that. I know he's been flat on her from some of my friends on annexation, and I know that's an agreement that's usually done 16 years ago or however many years ago for water and sewage. But I think by cleaning up the town, working on the crime problem, you're going to see more people that's going to be interested in Hagerstown to bring their business to raise their children in, and to continue to live here, after they go to college, come back to Hagerstown. So I think working with any way we can to keep the I just completely lost my thought. Sorry about that, Harry.
It's okay, thank you very much. Ms. Keller, same question.
So I'd like to start by respectfully disagreeing that we take 2 steps back economically. I think if you look at Hagerstown over the last 4, 5, 6 years, I think we have grown tremendously in a positive way. If we're focusing on growing the tax base, I think we need to focus on economic development, obviously, which our economic development department has been very busy. We just landed the North Point $149 million investment. Of course, it was announced yesterday that Amazon's coming here providing 500 jobs, which is a huge deal for Hagerstown. We need to continue looking into things like that. By improving our neighborhoods, I talked about removing blight earlier. Improving our neighborhoods makes property values go up, which alleviates a burden on our tax base. And I do agree we need to execute a pre-annexations agreement. If businesses want access to our water and wastewater, we have to be careful about that because we can only serve so many people. So you're signing a pre-annexation agreement to get access to our water and wastewater when you are contiguous to city boundaries, you're coming into city limits. As part of the agreement, it helps us expand the city. Unfortunately, that wasn't done 50, 60, 70 years ago when Fountainhead was built. But now I think we need to stay good on those annexation requirements.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Keller, contrary to national averages, Hagerstown seems to be 75% rentals and only 25% homeowners. What are the roots of this pattern and how does it change your economic development strategies?
So I think focusing on home ownership is important. I think we have a high rental population because of low incomes and poverty, which we have struggled with for years. We are finally seeing an increase in median income, which is much needed. Rentals, I think you've got to look at it 2 ways. Is home ownership important? Absolutely. Are millennials buying homes? No. If you look at a national average, people are renting. So we need to stop looking at it as just a constant negative, and yes, encourage home ownerships and provide resources and get people, a lot of people don't know that they can purchase a home. But if you just want to rent, we need to embrace that and work on high-end condos and high-end rentals, which is something that's been buzzing around here for a couple months now. People want more high-end condos above the 2nd and 3rd floor of downtown like Frederick has. We need to do that and use it to our advantage. I don't think we'll ever be 50-50 or 60-40. I think the way of the world, the generation younger than I am, just historically across the country, like I said, is not buying homes. So I think we need to stop looking at that as a negative thing and embrace what we have and provide a good housing stock to people, whether they want to own or rent.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, same question.
I think we need to work on having some sort of incentives for people to buy, more people to buy in Hagerstown. I agree with Emily. There is a lot of the millennials and all do not want to purchase homes, but if there was some sort of incentives for them to do that, I think that might change the outlook of that. I think we can get below 50% instead of 75% on rentals. I think as far as high-end condos goes, I couldn't imagine buying a high-end condo right now in the city of Hagerstown. That's just me. Until we attract some high-tech jobs, better jobs, better incomes for this area before we could start looking at refurbishing buildings and making them into high-end condos. I think it is important that we have some sort of home buyers assistance.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barnes, what are your plans to stem the socioeconomic problems in downtown Hagerstown, including homelessness and the impact of heroin addiction?
Well, actually, that's a good thing. I came out with a platform that's actually on my website, barnes2020.com, for those who are listening at home. I would like to see, for the opioid, I got statistics. I think in 2018 there was 42 drug overdoses in a 24-hour period in the city of Hagerstown, which cost the taxpayers around $73,500 and on the average call of $1,500 to $2,200 per call. So one person was Narcan 4 times in that 24-hour period. So what I would like to see done is we're going to Narcan you 3 times. You're either going to face the legal consequences, or you can go into a rehab program. During that rehab program, we are going to give you some community service. Maybe that you can learn how to do a trade, learn how to paint, do something, mow the grass, something, make you feel like a important member of society instead of just keep on being Narcan over and over again. I like to call that my bases loaded initiative. So, we can't just keep Narcaning and doing the same thing over and over again. And I know I'm not the expert on that. I know Emily has a lot more time with that than I do, but it just doesn't make sense to keep doing the same things over and over again and it not working.
Thank you. Ms. Keller, would you like me to read it?
So the question was homelessness and the effects of opioid addiction in downtown. The effects of opioid addiction is not just downtown, it's across our city and it's across our country. It's definitely not centralized like people seem to think. Washington County and Hagerstown are actually leading the way in the state with opioid initiatives and also homelessness initiatives as well. We have a homeless coalition who checks in and who's wrapping services around people who are accepting of help. We have a harm reduction program here that meets people where they're at that we need to focus on. I agree we can't continue to keep doing the same thing, which is why investing in harm reduction is important. Some people simply are not ready to get help. Some people are going to use drugs. That is not a popular sentence, but it is the truth. There's about 1,000,001 studies that show you can't force someone into treatment. It quite frankly does not work. So we need to meet people where they're at. We have a LEAD program, which is law enforcement assisted diversion, that the police officers take low-level offenders, and instead of charging them, they wrap services around them and give them help. We need to continue to focus on that. We have a LEAD behind Narcan program, which is cutting down on calls for service, which I agree that we need to do. And we need to continue focusing on expanding beds. Everyone, if they want treatment, we have to be able to provide immediate treatment services. And across the state, not just here locally, we have a lack of beds. And I know that's something that's being worked on every single day. There's a lot of work. There's no easy answer, but we need to educate. With Washington Goes Purple, will help 5, 10, 15 years from now to prevent addiction, treat people who want help, and continue to fund resources like harm reduction that we need.
Thank you very much. And this is the moment you've both been waiting on. The final question. So you can both relax, take a beat, yeah. And the final question, Emily, is actually going to go to you first. So the last one is, why should we vote for you?
Good last question. So why should you vote for me? I love Hagerstown. I truly do. I said it earlier, I believe in Hagerstown. I believe our best days are ahead of us. I think we have so much positive momentum that we need to be focusing on. I'm dedicated, I'm goal-driven, I'm hard-headed, which is a good thing because when I want something, I'm going to go out and do it. I've invested a lot in this town, and I want to leave it a better place for my daughter, a better place for her children, And I am going to work really hard. I think I can stand behind my record over the last 4 years and say that I have worked really hard as a council person. I'm proud of the initiatives that I've put into place. I want to continue to expand on them. And you have my word, as a mayor, I will be that positive leader that I think we desperately need. And we're going to work really hard on the issues that we have, and we're going to work really hard on promoting all the positive things that we have. And like I said, I believe our best days are to come, and I think I'm the leader that can help get us there. So I appreciate your vote on November 3rd or before, if you're mailing it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Martins?
Well, I think I bring a new change to City Hall. I think I'm a proven leader within the community. Like I said, I'm not much on a big on talking, especially at this hour of the morning and trying to make coherent sentences. But I bring a leadership. I've been in business for 21 years now. Very successful in what I do. I want to bring that to City Hall. My success of being able to lead and being in business in the community. I am a very outgoing person, very approachable person. Heck, my first fundraiser was at my home, and I opened that up to the public. So I look forward to, if anybody wants to contact me, do from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Phone goes off at then. Even on the weekends, if anybody wants to reach out to me, information is on my website. I'm just going to try to bring new, fresh ideas to City Hall. And I would humbly ask for you guys' support on November the 3rd. Or earlier, like Emily said. Most of the people are going to be out November the 3rd.
Thank you both very, very much.
Thank you. Emily and Mike could just stay up there just for another minute or so you can stay in the limelight. We can keep on. We'll put it on our Facebook. We'll post it. I would like to thank our team here for helping us do that. Gary, thank you for your work moderating. I also apologize on behalf of the committee. The typo, so you recovered all that sense. Thank the candidates for your patience. And also the confusing question of education. We'll have to tweak that if we do that again. So, candidates, thank you for your patience with that. Gary, thank you for working with this moderation. Let's give Gary a round of applause for your work there. We'd really like to thank the candidates for putting yourselves out there. As we've heard over the weeks and months and over the years, when people run for office, it's not easy. And you put yourself out there. We certainly appreciate that for your efforts, and we wish you well in what you're doing here with the campaign. We'd also like to thank each of you for coming out, and folks who might be watching this. Thank you for educating yourself. We do want you to get out and vote, whether it be today, tomorrow, up through the 3rd. And I think in some states, it's up to 3 days after the election they can take your write-in. So locally, we hopefully will know our candidates here who will be mayors and council members soon after the 3rd. The national election, I'm not so sure about. So thank you for being here this morning. I would encourage, as both candidates mentioned, to patronize downtown. We have beautiful weather here, so if you don't have lunch plans, there's a number of restaurants you can eat outside. So I would encourage you to do that. You can educate yourself on the issues. I know the candidates are all available and accessible to speak with you. We have a little bit more time here this morning, and again, be safe and thanks for coming out this morning. Thanks.